Hi, y'all. How y'all do? How is everybody? Listen, before I start, because I understand that a lot of people feel as if I'm attacking their faith. I get it. I understand. However, it's not about me attacking the faith. It's about the understanding of this Bible. Okay? Let me turn this down. Okay. Now, recapping on last Sunday, we spoke about Genesis. Okay? And we were talking about how in the garden we have Adam and Eve, okay, and God and the serpent. Now, here you have God who tells Adam not to eat of the fruit unless in that day he'll die. You have God telling Eve not to even touch it, okay? So now here we are questioning the morals, okay? Give me just a second. Let's see. Give me just a second, you guys. Okay, now back into scriptures. So when we get into the Genesis story and we get into the Garden of Eden, again, we are addressed with who is the father of lies. Now, we understand that the devil, or let's say his name is Satan, was the father of lies, okay? Now, father of lies also implies that this is a god or is seen as a god as well. So you have two gods, and the Bible speaks about two gods. It's not coming from one God. This is not one God speaking. This is a God speaking, and actually is adversary speaking. And I don't think that we see it as that, because this is a story about God. All right. And how he deals with his people and how people deal with him. And also the adversary, which is the devil. Okay. Which just implies somebody against. Now, here it is. We are told that the devil is the father of lies, that he messes with the people, okay? Meaning he's the one who tempts people into doing the wrong things or the right things, however you want to say it. He's the tempter. Now, when we look at this adversary or this devil, we hear many things that, he kills, he steals, he destroys. Now, we all heard the stories for God. We've all heard stories from this King James Bible. We also have heard God destroy people, destroy lands, destroy cities, children, babies. He's got a huge thing for babies. He loves the children. So we got to really, really, really pay attention to this and see why it is that this God has certain issues, okay? And I say certain issues to say that you have a problem with control. And this is why they don't give you the story of what happened in heaven first. They give you the story of man first. That way you don't understand who the real devil or the adversary is for the people. Okay? So there are two different sides that this Bible is coming from. Now, you have God, who is the creator, and we've heard God is all loving. Okay? Now, if we understand God to be love and not love to be God, okay, but they're trying to say that this is what love is. This is what God is. God is love. So beyond that, there is not an understanding of what a God is. And when we understand what love implies, love brings on jealousy, it brings on anger, all these things. Okay, so this is why this God can say he's jealous, he's wrathful, all these negative traits, because his love for these people, for the people itself. Okay, now the problem comes in because he has this obsessive love for a ill kind of love for mankind, to the point where he wants them under his authority. Now the problem here with this God is that we established already in Genesis, where in the garden he told Adam and Eve both not to even bother with those trees unless they'll die. Now the serpent told them if they did partake of the tree, that they wouldn't die and that they will become knowledgeable of what he and God knew. Now the problem is that one of them did not want the people to wake up. So which one did not want the people to wake up? The one who created man, who said in the beginning, look, you can eat of this fruit. However, if you do, you'll die. Now, meaning, is the fruit going to kill them? Or if you disobey me, I'm going to kill you. So there's a lot that we have to take apart in just the beginning before we can always go about, oh, this is a good God and a loving God. We got to break this apart first, because this is how people become deceived. And so if we feel like forget what the Bible says and let's go on what people tell us about God, then of course it's going to be easy for you to fall for it. But if you actually read it for yourself, you'll then determine that, you know what, maybe this guy need to have another reevaluation. Somebody need to really look at this God. Because if I'm worshiping this God in fear and not in love, then I'm not truly worshiping this God. So if people say that they worship this God in love, but you fear it, here's a problem. Just like Adam and Eve had to decipher for themselves that, hey, my dad is a perv because he's watching us naked in this garden. So I don't know if people are really looking at that part, because this is the same problem that God had with Ham when he looked upon his father. So if there's a problem for God, right, to see nakedness, or if it's a problem for your seed to see you naked, it should be just as much as a problem for your father or your mother, once you're grown, to see you in your nakedness. Those things should both apply. It can't just be one-sided, because we hear about situations of parents who mess with their children and stuff like that. These people aren't well. So when you look in Genesis and we get back into the Eden story, and you wonder why Eve and Adam even decided to cover themselves up once God was coming. Like, okay, they felt naked. They felt ashamed to be naked in front of their father. Meaning, you shouldn't even see me like this. So God ended up getting mad at them because they wanted to cover themselves up. They didn't want to be naked in front of him. So he ends up cursing them because they decided to do something different. But once he realized that they were right, what did he do? He helped make them furs and stuff to cover themselves up. So this guy knew that he wasn't all, like, oh, they busted me type of thing. Because as long as Adam and Eve were naive, they had no idea what God was even doing in the beginning, that God was even looking at them in that kind of way. So again, this has to be picked apart. We can't just overlook it and then say God is justifiable for doing what he did and cursing a whole race of people simply because, this man looked upon his father naked. Okay, so that should not apply if it did not apply in the beginning. Because if you say you are this moral God and it's a problem for nakedness, okay, especially for a child and a parent situation, then it should apply for him. It should not just apply for man. It should apply for this God as well. Simply because if we are to learn and understand how to be good parents per our teaching and understanding of the Bible, then we have to follow what this God is supposed to be telling us. And if that's the case, then this God is looking like a perv. So I don't know why people are not really digging into this and why people are not really looking at it. And I guess it's because of fear. But if fear stops you from becoming a better individual, meaning when you see something going wrong and you don't say anything, you're not a decent individual. You're just not, I don't care how this guy might look at it. You're just not a decent individual. If you can see bad things happen right in front of you and you don't even say anything, much less not even do anything, but you don't even say anything, that makes you a corrupt individual. That's the same thing for this guy. So this guy has to be on trial. Okay? Because you cannot do things. And if we are your children and we are supposed to learn by example, you can't do jacked up things and then tell your kids not to do it. Because that's not showing good parenting skills. So it would make sense why a bunch of people would mess up, why we would mess up on parenting, especially being raised as a Christian and with this understanding. And this is why a lot of people struggle with the religion and they walk away from it once they decide to read it and gain knowledge for themselves or decide to seek understanding even outside. These people end up walking away from religion because they see how corrupt it really is. Now, I know a lot of people are offended by the things that I'm saying, but I too was once a Christian. Okay, I too once followed different faiths, trying to find God. Okay, because I was misled, like many others. Many of us are misled. So, but what makes me different is I love to read, and because I love to read, I actually read the Bible. And when I read it, it went against every single thing that I saw good as a moral being. Because you cannot say that here it is, you're going to curse a whole entire race for generations and generations and generations just because the man looked upon his father naked, okay? But here it is, Adam and Eve are in this garden naked, okay, to not only you see them, but the serpent. So you're expecting them to what? Multiply, replenish the earth, meaning you're supposed to have sex. So you're wanting all of this stuff to go down in front of you. They naked, you're getting some type of thrill off of that. Next thing you know, you want them to have sex, you're going to get some type of thrill off of that. If those kids did not feel, if Adam and Eve did not feel violated, they would have never felt ashamed. They would have never covered themselves up. They had no idea that they were naked. That's why they were naive. Okay, so God didn't want them to know how naive they really were. to what was going on. And I know people are not going to look at the Bible in that way, but if you read it for yourself, you'll start asking questions yourself about why would this God this seemed like a weirdo here, because I can't see how you would curse an entire generation, and you would even curse Adam and Eve for wanting to cover themselves up in front of you. There's a problem with this God. And so when we look at the story for what it's telling us, is trying to get you to decipher good from bad. What are morals? What are values? Where are your morals and values? Those type of things. Not for you to sit here and say, oh, I fear this God, so I'm going to worship it because I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to burn up. Because at the end of the day, even if you do say that and you do acknowledge this God has a people that he's coming for. He only has love for certain people. So when we read this, we have to understand it. If you're not those people, then you're not going to be saved. He's going to bring your ass up in hell. So we can't walk around all holy and righteous and thou thinking, oh, I know this guy, I know I'm one of this guy's children, and acting like old butthole all day, being nasty, seeing things happen in front of you, not saying anything, letting crime just happen all around you. You probably got criminals in your house, ordering them, knowing good and well they're murderers or something like that. You have all this crazy stuff going on in your Christian homes, and it's no wonder, because this God is corrupted. So it's no wonder the people act corrupted. So we have to start reevaluating some things. We have to start questioning this God's morals. What is his intentions? What were his intentions when he created Adam and Eve from the beginning and put them in the garden? Did he not want them to learn? At the end of the day, do you not want your children to understand things so they can make it in this world? Or do you want them to be naive and get killed? So again, there are questions here, and they are very important ones, because excuse me, we see that when it comes down to the Bible, a lot of people are afraid to even ask questions simply because we're told we're not allowed to. And that's only because either they have not read the Bible for themselves to understand it, or they are afraid and they really believe that this God will do all those things to them, which makes me wonder if this book was not created for the purpose of collecting people. And I don't mean just in slavery, but collecting people in fear. So this God, again, it's time for us to start questioning. I'm going to go into chapter 4 in the story about Cain and Abel, and how that whole situation was messed up because God only favored one of them from the beginning. So again, showing God has favor on certain people, not everybody. So if you think that you are one of these holier than thou people that's going to be saved from him, you're not. If you believe this story to even be real, this God to even be real, you're not one of those people. And so this is about a bloodline. Okay, this is not about the entire world. This is about a bloodline. Okay, and this bloodline being saved, this bloodline making a statement, okay, making a change, which they made a change in the entire world, okay, because this bloodline is long, and it's not just the King James either. You know what I'm saying? These people are tied into each other. These are families. So when we start to understand this God, his intentions, his morals, and his values, and we question his character, especially once we get into chapter 4 of Genesis, talking about Cain and Abel, we'll start seeing how corrupt this God can really be. And you determine for yourself why people would walk away from Christianity, why people will walk away from a belief in this God or a belief in any God once you've been corrupted so much to understand this one. So I hope you all enjoyed. I will be back next Sunday with another episode, again going into chapter 4 of the Holy Bible. Friday, please join me for my podcast. I do have some other guests that's going to be joining. If you would like to join my podcast for Friday nights at 7, let me know. You can inbox me and I will shoot you a link. I will be sending links out to everyone who will be joining Friday that I know of so far. I will be sending that out tomorrow. I thank you all for watching. Y'all don't get too mad at me. Don't hate the messenger, okay? I'm like, believe it or not, I know the serpent don't look like the good guy right now. I know he don't look like the good guy. He did tell the truth to Adam and Eve. So I know he don't look like the good guy per what we've been told, but it's time for us to get a different understanding, a different comprehension, and see things for what it really is, and not from the fear aspect, but from the logical aspect. So I will catch you all next week. Peace, y'all.